Still on the Coal City project, the anticipated 100 million naira worth of fish per annum if handled properly. Here, I've spoken to you about the points necessary to upgrade it and get it back to its normal shape. We gave the master plan, the design, but apparently we give customers the option of having to do it themselves and we supervise, or they do it on their own if they feel capable and the client decides to do it on his own. This is fantastic and massive. They got it 80%, right? But there's this obvious oversights, all because Mr. Fish was not involved 100%, and that's what I'm here to correct. Now, I've told you 7 points earlier on. If you haven't watched that, just go back and watch. Now I'm talking about the next 7 points to get this thing back to its full operational capacity. We talked of a few things last video, and I'm going to just run on the next things necessary. Now, the heartbeat of this system, because in Coal City, there is not enough water. They have just 2 wells. I mean, you can imagine this tank will need 24,000 liters of water. That's about 12 2,000 liter tank for one. And 12 2,000 liter tanks times 18. You can imagine an enormous amount of water needed there. So it doesn't make sense to start pumping water in and throwing water out that people do. They call it flow through. Flow through air. Where's the water? So what you do is to now create a heart for it to get the water flow into the gutter there. Are you getting me? And then the wastewater from there moves into the the sump, and then the pump takes it from the sump into the sedimentation chamber. We've got about 1, 2 right at the edge there, and then I think we still got sedimentation there. No, yeah, from there it moves to the bacteria of nitrification, and then from there it now moves to ion exchange and getting to contaminant chamber before we now have the water come right in here, flowing down out there, flowing down by gravity, right, straight on to serve the system. This is wonderful. Now, I've just been on the system, and so that people can see what we're having here. Now we got what could be wrong now? Why is the system not working? Number one thing, not working appropriately because of the compromising of the materials in the chamber. What people say internationally is that you have about 4 feet of filter media, but the cost of materials, even though we've made customers see cheap access to nitrifying materials, even using simple natural material that's available in the environment, right, without saying use Siporax and all those expensive stuff, yet people still find it a little bit humongous to fill it up. But if you don't go 4 feet, at least go 2 feet of filter media. But what we have here is about 1 feet for some of them, which is really, really not ideal when the plan is to actually raise full capacity. If you go less than half media, then that means you are going to be have capacity to process half of the waste. So you are going ahead to just use half of the, you're just going ahead to just have half of the productivity to yourself. So it's all about you. So this is important to take care of. Now, when the filter system is upgraded, the next thing is to now activate the media by seeding in bacteria. That's where Mr. Fish Survival Booster comes in. It's either you go out and get the roots of either beans or groundnut and then put it there. You know, the root nodules there. Those are beneficial bacteria and bacteria that will help in activating the system. If you don't do it, it's the waste of your feed that's going to make that happen. And before you know what's going on, oh my God, I haven't page 57 of the income book using recycling system. It's going to take bacteria some time to grow, to move from geometrically from 2, 4, 16, 64, you know, geometrical progression. And that takes somewhere of 28 days. So if you have excess fish in there, generating excess ammonia, the ammonia will turn to nitrite. Nitrite is like carbon monoxide, odorless, clear, not smoky at all, and people just die off from it. That's why you see tabloid media, family of 8 dies in a room because they put in because they have the generator inside. They don't want thieves to take their generator, and they found the same in heaven in the morning. Next morning, carbon monoxide. Same thing happens to fish. Nitrite kills quickly. I just had somebody call me this morning now from somewhere who had a system like that, and then my fish died. Why did you not use the booster that was to do the job? Don't allow the fish to use their waste to make that happen. That's slow. Some people rent the tortoise to do that job. You know, they do a lot of foul stuff, but sorry, I don't think there's any tortoise renter around to make that happen. Nigeria is too young for that. So go ahead and use the one that's available, which is the survival booster that has colony of bacteria in it together with probiotics. So your system is good to go straight away. That's a crucial one. Then I'm going to talk about, now you don't need an alkalizer here to a large extent. If you have enough material media in your system that involves, what's it called, pre-treated seashells and then charged clinoptilolite, which is one of the components. But if a hatchery is going to be created entirely in a separate place, which I'm going to advise, then that means they need to have an alkalizer under their overhead tank to actually send straight pH 6.5 to 8 water to the system. Now let's beam on what we have here. One of the younger ones came here and then decided to put this for them to, why this? Why distract a system that will generate 5,000 meloge, 10,000 per annum, all to trade off for this? By the way, this is wrong, because you don't spawn right on the floor. You immediately begin to knock. If it is a warm water fish, the floor breaks into the fish, and before you know what, that's debatable. But as far as I'm concerned, you can have used the TOTI tank, IBT TOTI tank, to do the same job. 1 square meter, right? And then you just have that in a more enclosed environment and get your job doing. If I have my way, I'll say get this off here so that you can maximize that productivity here, right? And the same thing with the other one there. But let's say the customer says no for now, not yet. Then God have mercy. Because by the time you start doing this, and the thing is, even the cement is not even painted, you will still have more bacteria. That means you have to clean with salt regularly or formalin. May you not embalm yourself while you're using the wrong format of formalin. So it's, as far as I'm concerned, at my level of operations, I don't subscribe to this. But that doesn't mean it will not work, but with attendant hassle. I'll do a separate video on this later on, right? To make, because convenience is a hallmark for fingerlings production. And that's why women succeed more in it, because of the repetitive feeding methodology. They are more fragile. Sorry, women, I'm not saying, when I say compared to men, I hope I'm not seen as being chauvinistic now. They need something more gentle to operate. So going to work in the other one there, just beam on it now to sort your advanced fry to Ijebu size. It could be awesome, because that's about 1 meter high. And by the way, you don't even need 1 meter high until the fish are 6 weeks or 8 weeks. So what I'll suggest is that whatever it is to salvage this, you can just do a little bit of spawning here in the beginning. You're getting right, but once mortality starts, just let me know, and it's time to destroy. Then the fish is placed here, probably cleaned appropriately, so that they have enough space to swim, so that they can grow. But don't make the water go beyond 1 feet. Because if you go beyond that, the fish is going to be running 300 meters. By the time it's about 4 weeks, then your feeds are just wasted, and you lead to cannibalism. So you lower the water as much as possible. Are you getting me? Well, I wish you all the best here, because I'm feeling the cold breeze of the weather too. But just note one thing: once your temperature is below 22 degrees centigrade, and you feed a baby fish, you're looking for trouble, because it's going to inhibit the digestion of every protein. And before you know it, you see it bloated up, upside down. The typical message I get all the time: my fishes are dying, mortality, mortality, mortality. So to prevent the mortality from happening, watch the temperature, see how to insulate. Then you will see the machine over there. That's an air blower. What it does is to, if you're watching my videos, you know exactly what we're talking about. To do about 4 things. 1, remove ammonia from the system, because that's a gaseous thing you feel in the public urinary. Then 2, to remove arene sulfide from the waste food and the poo of the fish. That's one that smells like rotten eggs. Then 3, to remove carbon dioxide that makes your fish to go off-white color. Are you getting me? And it's even inconvenient, making them come up and down too regularly. Then 4, which is the most crucial, is to allow, to make you make profits by putting enough oxygen inside the system. Because stagnant water has oxygen plummets to 0.001%. You have the best carbon, which is the food you're giving the fish, and nitrogen is convertible already. Well, you know, that's the building block of amino acid, which makes up the protein that makes up the fish flesh, which is what you sell to make your money. So if this guy pumps in oxygen for you, mix atmospheric oxygen with the water to increase it from at least 8% to to increase from 0.001 to 8%. I think that'd be wonderful. And I think I think I've touched quite a lot. The next thing is about management. May God help you with management. What I need to tell entrepreneurs is this: fish business is cottage business, and there's so much money to make from it. You don't treat staff in fish farming as you treat in other conventional businesses. This is separate. A man who spawns fish for you and gets you about 200,000 fingerlings, you still pay him the same salary. You've got to think of small time limited partnerships and commission system. That's what get fish farm going. And every fish farmer, no matter how young, who understands fingerling production, like to be treated with respect. People want to be carried along, treated with respect, dignity, and honor. Then they return it with sincerity, loyalty, and then faithfulness. But this is a topic for another day, because it's a major challenge in fish farming. But God help all the entrepreneurs, and I pray this farm works. I keep you posted.